Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to try to finish Merenice off today in this episode. We'll see how well that actually goes. Because I think he still has like 3 choices left. Let's see, because we only did 1 choice the last time. Let's go together. So there's still 3 choices left. Hopefully they go fast because I don't want to make this 2 more episodes. I want to try to get him done in this one. But like I said, it depends how long they are, I guess. I don't know. I'm just ready for something to happen in his route. There's just a lot of like old game stuff happening and not a lot of new things happening in his route. Let's see. The day to depart for Crunch Canyon trip arrived finally. I almost hit B. I've been playing PlayStation all day, so it's probably going to be a lot of this. Because I'm going to try, because it's reversed on the PlayStation controller and it's super annoying because I've been hitting circle a lot when trying to build in my hideout in Assassin's Creed, which exits out of the menu. And it's so frustrating because I'm trying to place something down and I exit the menu instead. I'm like, no, I don't want to. Dang it. This problem with reversed controllers. Maybe I should play on a Japanese controller or something, because I think it's the same as Switch. Anyway, I was on 10th Avenue, awaiting for a Merenice to show up. Oh, fancy. Her hair is down. Oh my goodness, her hair is never down. Merenice mentioned he'd wait here, so I expected to see him. The luxury homes around me were overwhelming. Wait, does Merenice live here? Then I heard an engine start and a large vehicle pull out from behind a nearby home. Camper van. Camper van. Oh, that's adorable. Just as I was wondering what kind of people were inside, the camper stopped right in front of me.
おはようございます。
To my surprise, it was Merenice who stepped out. Merenice? Hold on, this camper is yours.
ええ、私のキャンピングカーで私室です。
Personal space.
普段は家の庭に止めていて、この中で暮らしているんです。Right?
He parks it in his backyard and lives in it. You live in your backyard? I know, right?
はい。なので生活に必要なものは集めてありますから。これなら快適に旅ができるでしょ。
Why would you not live in your house, though? He genuinely meant that it was his personal space.
免許を取った時に父に記念にもらったものなんですよ。こうして車に積んでいるものを出して、ここに日差しよけ用の布をかけると、はい、プライベートガーデンの出来上がりです。ここでゆっくり紅茶を飲みながら本を読む時間は至極ですよ。
That sounds wonderful. The breeze must feel good.
でしょ？ぜひ座ってみてください。
He urged me to sit, and I felt just how comfortable it was. The scorching sun was blocked out, and I felt a cool breeze blow by.
今回の旅でも楽しめるようにと椅子を増やしてみたんです。ぜひ一緒に紅茶を飲みましょうね。
Merenice happily began explaining the details of the van. I leaned into the comfortable seat and listened to Merenice explain everything. This van came from that house, right? So that must be Merenice's home. The house Merenice came from was so large, as I thought that Merenice pulled out a donut and glanced around.
ところで、ちーちゃんは？
She's a bit skittish. I invited him, but he chose to stay home this time. I had hoped we could travel together, but she was too scared and never emerged from under the shelf. I know, and he's supposed to be Jupiter, and Jupiter films the TV show Parasite house just fine. Whatever. So it would just be Merenice and me on this trip.
そうなんですね。
Aww. I sensed that Merenice felt a bit down. I believed he really liked Chi. It would have been great if Chi had come along. He was a divine beast, but he was scared of practically everything. I doubted he would be much help in emergencies.
では、出発しましょうか。
Yes. Merenice held open the door to the camper van. I stepped inside. Wow, this is adorable. The decor had indigenous influences, which was rare to see in Lost York. Amazing, there's even a kitchen inside. There was a tiny kitchen, a bed, and a sofa. The space seemed cozy enough to live in.
なので案外暮らしやすいんですよ。では車を出しますから、そこのソファーに座っていてください。
I closed the door and settled on the sofa. The van soon started its journey. Wow, it's really on the move. Some people call the camper mobile homes. I heard of them, but I had never ridden in one. I curiously looked around the inside, amazed. You mentioned traveling by car, so I expected something more ordinary. I never imagined driving in something like this. Hey, a hanging pot, how cute. I looked around the interior while also occasionally looking out the window. The passing scenery felt so new to me. Soon we were en route to Crunch Canyon in the camper van. It feels like we're on a road trip movie. I couldn't move my eyes away from the window, eager for the next sight. We continued driving until we left Lost York behind. Suddenly, I heard a loud pop and the van slowed. Uh-oh. Huh? Is that...
パンクのようですね。
That sucks. I hate those. Here of all places, what are we going to do? The surrounding area was barren, and there was no gas stations nearby or shops that could change a tire.
そんなに慌てなくて大丈夫ですよ。タイヤの替えは積んであります。
Yeah, but you're not supposed to drive on a spare tire.
すぐ交換してきますから。待っていてくださいね。
Merenice pulled over to the side of the road and stepped out. I followed, wondering if I could help him with anything. Are you alright?
大丈夫ですよ。幸い、パンクしたタイヤは一つだけのようですね。一応昨晩、メンテナンスしておいたつもりですが、普段走らせていないので、甘かったようですね。
Oh, so he usually leaves it at home. That meant that he hadn't used it as a vehicle for quite some time. So, can I help in any way?
そうですね。では、これを持っていていただけますか？
Merenice removed his usual cardigan and handed it to me.
よいしょっと。
Oh my goodness. He removed the whole thing. He took off his shirt too, so it wouldn't get dirty with the oil or dust as he worked. He got some tools from the luggage compartment and loosened the tire bolts. Then he went to the back to jack up the car and skillfully got to work. But Merenice knows how to change a tire. Also, as he took off his shirt, I saw for the first time that he was actually incredibly buff. Except he's like probably the most skinniest one out of all the Parasite 5. They were having that manly contest comparing muscles and stuff. And I'm sure Merenice would come in last because I think they said Gil was the smallest. I don't think so. Ryuki was definitely. Anyway, sorry. Sidetracked there. He had very little body fat on him and was well muscled. His skin, glistening with sweat under the sun, suited him. My goodness. She's gonna start being attracted to him now. I had assumed he was more of an indoor person since he was a fortune teller, so this was unexpected.
しかし、まさかタイヤがパンクするなんて、相変わらず予想外なことばかり起きますね。
Alright, if you could see your future, you could have prevented this. It must be inconvenient at times like this. I believe that seeing one's destiny could be great for avoiding problems. He just smiled and shook his head.
いいえ、私は今、すごく楽しいですよ。タイヤがパンクすることがあらかじめ分かっている人生なんて、面白くありませんから。Right?
Is that how it is? I thought it'd be helpful to know certain aspects of her destiny to be prepared, but it was clear that Merenice was happy right now. He took off the flat tire and replaced it with a new one. About 30 minutes later, he finished changing the tire. After cleaning up, we had lunch with sandwiches we'd packed, then resumed our road trip.
では、再出発しますね。
Yes. The car drove smoothly and the new tires seemed fine.
よかった。無事に走り出しましたね。実は、タイヤの交換なんてしたことがなかったので、きちんとできているか不安だったんです。
Seemed pretty confident for never doing it before. Really, you seemed pretty experienced as you were doing it.
これまでは必要に駆られる場面もありませんでしたから。ですが、以前他の方の運命でタイヤ交換のシーンを見たことがあったので、なんとかできました。
He referenced other people's destinies. It was so like Merenice to rely on that instead of something like YouTube. Come to think of it, he said he doesn't watch TV or YouTube. There was no TV or tables in his space. I wondered if he really didn't find them necessary. Given that he could see people's futures, perhaps he felt he didn't need any other sources of information. He might not even research popular spots like Crunch Canyon. Well, he knew what it was when he saw it in his vision. I decided to do my own research. I opened a guidebook and began reading.
それは?
Merenice asked after he noticed it looking through the rearview mirror. It's a guidebook on Crutch Canyon. I brought it along to find souvenir shops.
お土産。
I wanted to research good dining spots too.
そうでした。それらの運命も決まっていないのでしたね。うっかりしていました。
It's okay. I'll compile a list of good-looking restaurants.
ありがとうございます。楽しみにしていますね。
He continued to drive for the rest of the day. By the time the sun came down, we had parked the van and settled for the night. Phew, that was delicious. We finished our meal and relaxed by the crackling bonfire. We enjoyed outdoorsy barbecue for dinner. We prepared it over an open fire ourselves with ingredients we brought with us. I've always wanted to try this since seeing it on YouTube. I couldn't have made this meal in any other circumstance. I was completely satisfied.
あなたはいつも楽しそうですね。
Really?
ええ。あなたのその笑顔が見られて本当に嬉しいです。そうだ。マシュマロを焼いてみませんか？実は持ってきているんです。
Wow, awesome. I always wanted to try that.
では、焼きましょうか。
They're heart and star shaped. We both skewered our marshmallows and held them over the fire. Let's dig in. Hot. I blew on the hot marshmallow to cool it a bit while trying to eat it, but the marshmallow was too big and filled my entire mouth. He's blushing. As I struggled to eat it, I heard laughter beside me as he covered his mouth. I wanted to ask him what was so funny, but the marshmallow muffled my words. Merenice laughed heartily. I hadn't seen him laugh like that before.
ゴールデンハムスターのようですね。本当にあなたは愛らしい。
A golden hamster? As opposed to what, a normal hamster? Why does it have to be golden? I don't understand. This is kind of embarrassing.
では私もせっかくですし、同じように思い切り食べてみることにします。
Stuff your face with marshmallows? Ernest took a large bite of his marshmallow, mimicking me. Now he had the hamster look. Is it a golden hamster, though? I giggled and Merenice smiled gently back at me. This peaceful moment was delightful. My heart felt warmer than the fire. That's pretty warm. His loud laughter, the oversized marshmallows, everything was beautiful.
マシュマロ、美味しいですね。
Yeah. While savoring the marshmallow, I gazed at the mesmerizing starry sky. You wouldn't see such a view in Lost York due to its city lights. I'm so glad I came. We hadn't reached our destination. We'd only left Lost York that morning, but in that moment, I sincerely felt deeply grateful. For the past 6 years, I worked hard, trying to earn a promotion to impress my father. It struck me that I hadn't allowed myself to truly relax like this in a long time. I felt uneasy about not having a goal to chase anymore, but right now I was having so much fun. Merenice, thank you for inviting me on this trip.
え
To be honest, I've never traveled before. I didn't realize it could be this much fun. Merenice stared at me, a mix of surprise and awkwardness on his face.
困りました。こんな時、どう言えばいいのか、わかりません。
Huh?
私は嬉しいんでしょうか。それとも懐かしいと思っているんでしょうか。自分の心を騒がせるこの感情が何なのか、よくわからないのです。
Merenice placed his hand over his heart, looking deeply into my eyes.
こんな風に人と長く過ごすのは本当に久しぶりですから、うまく感情を整理できませんね。
He keeps saying it's been a long time since this and that. I wonder what he's referring to, that he's thinking about. It's been a long time. I see she picked up on it too. By the way he said it was nostalgic stood out to me. This wasn't the first time experiencing a moment like this. Have you not always seen destinies? At my question, Merenice's smile carried a hint of sadness.
ええ。子供の頃は他の方と変わらずに過ごしていましたよ。
That makes more sense now. Then what caused him to be able to see destinies? The evening breeze made the flames flicker and blew his hair mysteriously. I shivered, maybe due to the chilly air on my skin. Or maybe it was because I sensed an air of mystery around him, reminiscent of chi. I hugged myself tighter against the cold, only to find Merenice moving closer to sit next to me. Still wearing the cardigan, he draped one side over my shoulder to shield me from the wind. Aw, it's such a cute picture. It's so adorable. He pulled me into his warmth.
これで寒くありませんか。
Yes, thank you. He was merely trying to block the wind, but his touch and the warmth from where our shoulders met made my heart race. I had never been this close to a man before. It felt different from hugging Clarice. Merenice was taller, broader, yet lean. When I looked up, I met his gentle gaze. Those were the eyes that had seen countless destinies of other people. When did you start being able to see destinies?
そうですね。私がこの力に目覚めたのは確か7歳の頃だったと思います。夜にこっそり家を抜け出した時、ミステリーサークルを見てからなのですよ。
Were you abducted by aliens? Ernest began to unravel his past, the tone of his voice soft and distant. The memory from his childhood almost sounded like an old fairy tale.
私がまだエレメンタリースクールに通っていた頃だったでしょうか。学校でトウモロコシ畑に宇宙人が出るという噂を聞いて、みんなで夜に見に行くことになったのです。懐中電灯を持って親に内緒で家をこっそり抜け出してワクワクしたのを覚えています。それで噂のトウモロコシ畑に来た時、私たちはミステリーサークルを見つけたのです。
Mystery Circle.
あ、見ろよ、トウモロコシが倒れてる。
うわ、これマジモンのミステリーサークルじゃん。宇宙人は？
ミステリーサークルって宇宙船が着陸した後だって言うよな。 UFO 探そうよ。
それより宇宙人だよ、宇宙人。急いで探さなきゃ逃げられちゃうって。
よし、手分けして探すぞ。ってあれ、
うわ、メレニスが倒れた。
何転んでんだよ。ってあれ、マジで気絶してる。
そのミステリーサークルを見ていたら、なんだか不思議な感覚になって、気がついた時には倒れていました。幸い友人たちの声にすぐに目を覚まして、その時は特に何もなかったのですが、家に帰ってから急に高熱が出て、3日3晩と寝込んでしまい、そして熱が下がった時には人の運命が見えるようになっていたのです。
So that's what happened. Did anything happen to your other friends who went with you?
ええ、なぜか私だけでした。だからもしかしたらこの能力の目覚めと関係はないかもしれませんが、でもあんなに頑丈なトウモロコシが横倒しになる光景を見たのは後にも先にもあれだけです。普通ではありません。だから何か関係はあるのかもと思っていたのですが、とにかくあの時からなのです。熱が下がって学校へ行くと、そこにはたくさんの人の運命が氾濫した世界になっていました。そして先生がこれから出す問題も全て見えるようになってしまいました。クラスで一番の秀才がどう答えるのかも。
Then
ええ、テストに苦労しなくなってしまったのです。ずるいでしょ。でも見えてしまうのですから仕方なかったんです。
with a playful grin, Merenice shifted his gaze skyward.
ですが両親の運命も見えてしまいますから、私は自分がこれからどのような運命をたどるのか全て見えておりました。どの大学へ行くのか、どんな人が遊ぼうと誘いに来るのか。
But he couldn't see his own destiny.
クリスマスのプレゼントの中身まで開ける前に全部分かってしまうようになったのです。
Maybe he saw the friends that he would have through his parents introducing themselves to him, to them. The Christmas presents, though, that would suck. I see. I imagine Merenice losing his joy of opening presents as a child. Something about that made me sad. The lack of surprise in his life seemed to affect him deeply.
だから免許を取った時に父にこのキャンプカーを庭に置いて自分の部屋にしたいとねだったんです。そうすれば自分の運命をあまり見ずに済むでしょ。
So that's why you live in the yard.
ええ。と言っても今両親は海外赴任中であの家には誰もいないのですけれどね。
So he lives in the backyard of his parents.
でも物が多いとなんとなく疲れますから、あの部屋で一人過ごすのが一番楽だったのです。あなたに出会うまでは。
His fingertips touched my shoulder, and I immediately noticed how warm they were.
これまでいくら探しても見つからなかったので、きっと運命が見えない人などどこにもいないと思って生きてきました。ですがあなたに出会った。私は初めて運命が見えない人もいるのだと知ったのです。
Merenice.
リネットと呼んでいいですか？
Yes.
ではあなたも メレニスと呼んでください。
I know it's been saying it in English this whole time, but I'm pretty sure she's been calling him by his last name, probably, because he just asked her to call him by his first. Merenice. Oh my goodness, I was not expecting that. Like the twinkling of a starlight, we shared a quiet kiss. His lips were incredibly soft, and I felt my face flush a few moments later. It was my first kiss. His long eyelashes cast a shadow on his cheek. The crackling bonfire suddenly seemed deafening.
リネット、どうか私の前からいなくならないでください。
It just seems so sudden because like she hasn't thought of him in any special way yet, then all of a sudden she just kisses him. He whispered in my ear, pulling me tighter into his embrace. He drew me closer with such intensity and we kissed again. If I were Cupid watching from Celestia, I would have given this tender kiss beneath the stars a perfect score. But really. As I touched his large body and soft lips, I could feel my heart racing and my fingers going numb. But I wasn't sure if this kiss was driven by romantic feelings. I couldn't quite understand why I felt that way. Was he just fascinated by the mystery I presented? To him, I was just someone whose destiny he couldn't see. Was that the sole reason he was drawn to me? So that was probably not love. Huh? Sadness washed over me. I was confused by my own feelings. Why don't you ask him?
嫌でしたか?
Oh, he picked up on it. Breaking our kiss, Merenice looked at me with concern in his eyes. Since he couldn't see my destiny, he wasn't sure if he had made the right move. He leaned in closer to check my reaction. That's why I reassured him with a nod and a smile. I was certain that I didn't dislike it. I didn't dislike it.
よかった。
He smiled and pulled me into another embrace. I nestled my face into his shoulder and breathed him in. It was an odd sensation, feeling both relaxed with him and full of butterflies. I couldn't make sense of my feelings. Both traveling and this kiss were new experiences for me.
リネット。
He stroked my hair tenderly like he was touching something he greatly treasured. I couldn't understand my feelings, but I knew I enjoyed this. No change after kiss, question mark. Well, why not? I don't understand. It's been 30 minutes and we haven't had a choice yet. I don't think we're going to be able to finish this tonight. Over the next few days, Merenice took the wheel as we traveled. Eventually we reached Crunch Canyon. Wow.
見事ですね。
We parked at South Rim Crunch Canyon Village, a popular tourist overlook. The sceneries I had seen on YouTube and in magazines came to life before me.
これがクランチキャニオン。
It's amazing. Nature is truly magnificent. Crunch Canyon was sculpted by a river over time.
すごいですね。こんな大きなものが川の浸食によって削られてできるなんて。
Now, speaking of, there's a myth that claims a hero carved it to save lives.
そうなんですか?
Yes, the legend says the earth was split this way to protect people from floods. I mentioned it when I told him that we were going to visit Crunch Canyon. Oh, here we go.
クランチキャニオン行くの？いいなあ。実は俺最近先住民の残した神話についても調べてるんだよ。クランチキャニオンといったら大洪水から人々を救うため神精霊が大地を引き裂いたって伝承があるよね。神なのか精霊なのかそれとも人間なのか。クランチキャニオンには壁画もあるし面白い伝承がいっぱいあって気になってるんだ。紀元は7000万年前って言われてるけれど20億年前の地層もあるらしいんだ。行くならお土産にポトピ族の置物を買ってきてほしい。
He rambled on as usual, well past our meeting time. But I get why the obsessed parasite Rao would be interested. Lord Jupiter could easily craft something like this. He could split the earth just by summoning lightning bolts. The supreme deity of the Dicositans could do this easily. Not easily. Hold on. There aren't any celestial legends mentioned in Crunch Canyon. I frequently heard tales about things like the Trojan War or the Apocalypse, but rarely about myths from this region. My thoughts were interrupted by murmuring nearby.
ですが、どうしてこんな場所へ私は来る運命だったのでしょ
So you don't know?
う。ええ、子供の頃に来たということもなさそうでしたし、どうして私はここへ来たのでしょう。
His face was creased in confusion. You want to look into a mirror again? This is what you're supposed to pick, but let me see if it's save. Nope. No more saves. So let's say maybe the gods are calling you. Maybe the gods are calling you.
え？
Like in the myths, where gods draw individuals to mysterious places, it reminds me of that. Because I had been thinking about Rao's tales in the Dicositans, I couldn't help but blurt out something about gods.
そうなのですね。神様ですか。もう一度鏡で見せていただければわかるかもしれません。お願いしてもいいですか？
Of course. Merenice concentrated and looked into the mirror. Alright, get back to it. Alright, want to look into a mirror again. Oh, then do you want to try looking into a mirror?
そうですね。お願いしていいですか？
Yes, of course.
ありがとうございます。
Took out a mirror from my bag and we looked into it together. We gazed into its depths, our hands intertwined. Not through a donut, though? He exhaled deeply after a few moments.
どうやらあちらの方へ行くようです。
Merenice pointed towards the hiking trail. Let's get moving.
え？いいのですか？結構歩くかもしれませんが。
We traveled all the way to Crunch Canyon. I want to explore. I'm prepared for long journeys. I read about hiking routes in guidebooks and came as prepared as possible. Merenice's eyes widened as I told him that. And soon his expression warmed into a smile.
すごい。運命が見えないのに、あなたは準備をしていたのですね。
Huh? Well, you know, always better safe than sorry, right?
そうですね。備えをするのが普通ですよね。
Merenice continued to giggle as he held out his hand to me.
では、私にその荷物をください。私が運びますから。
It's alright. I have some water inside, so it's heavy.
なら、余計にあなたには持たせられませんね。
Hand it over now.
私がそうしたいのです。さ、どうか。
Merenice took my backpack and slung it over his shoulder. He then held out his hand again.
では、行きましょうか。
Sure. She seemed so uneasy. I gently placed my hand in his. We continued walking while holding hands. He kept a solid pace, occasionally checking the mirror to ensure we were on the right path. Every time we took a break, too, the mirror came out to double-check destiny. Eventually, we reached a cave.
ここは。
The air inside was cool. The chatter of the other tourists faded, as if we had entered another world. It seemed like an ordinary cave, yet we felt as if time had stopped. Is this the place you saw in your destiny?
ええ。先ほど一瞬見えたのは確かにこの洞窟です。
Merenice ventured deeper into the cave. Merenice?
なんでしょう。胸騒ぎがします。
You're gonna encounter a manticore. Merenice stared at the wall in the cave and gasped.
この壁画
Hey, you're right, there's something there. The guidebook mentioned wall paintings scattered throughout Crunch Canyon. This had to be one of them. Is this a god? It's airborne. That looks like a human. The painting depicted humans venerating a deity. There was also a radiant crown and a peculiar creature. I wonder what this is. It looks like some sort of divine beast.
これは何が描かれているのでしょう
It doesn't look like any animal I know of. It wasn't a dog, a cat, a bird, or an insect. Is that all the animals you know? No matter how I viewed it, I couldn't figure out what it was meant to be. Wait, maybe the guidebook says something about it. This cave was still a tourist spot. Check out the guidebook from the backpack and found a section about this cave. It says it's a cave that was once home to the Cupid tribe.
ポトピ族が
I think I heard of the Cupid tribe from somewhere before. You mean Raul? That's right. Raul asked me to get him a souvenir of some carving by the Cupid tribe. I had to remember to buy that souvenir when we returned to Crunch Canyon Village. Keeping that in mind, I studied the painting once more. Yes, this mural represents the Cupid tribe worshipping spirits.
精霊
It really does look like a divine beast, though. Perhaps the name differed, but the essence might be the same. Depending on how you look at it, you could assume that Chi was a spirit, too. I was just thinking it's probably Chi. It looks like a rabbit, though. Chi had been too scared to join this journey. I was sure he was just stealing food and lounging around at home right now.
そんなまさかポトピ族の精霊のお話がこんなところで出てくるなんて
You're familiar with them?
ええ子供の頃好きだった寝物語にポトピ族と精霊が出てくるものがあったのですだから私はここへ来る運命だったんでしょうかあのおとぎ話を懐かしんででもこの壁画どうしてでしょう見たことがあるような気がします
Randy seemed distant as he touched the wall. Sudden gust caused his clothes to flutter, but that was all. Nothing else happened. It was merely a breeze. After a moment, Merenice pulled his hand away from the wall painting, appearing slightly disappointed.
ここに何の運命があったんでしょう私はなぜここに
Suddenly, Merenice gasped, staring at the wall painting. Then he placed a hand over his heart.
この紋章私がつけているものと同じです
Huh? You're right. Merenice wore a gold accessory on his suspenders. An identical design was depicted in the wall painting. It wasn't just a resemblance. Someone in the wall painting wore something with the exact same design.
これは両親から子供の頃に一家に代々伝わるものだと20歳になった時にもらったものなのですが
It's too convenient for all of it to be a coincidence.
そうですねこれと同じものなんてこれまで見たこともありませんでしたからまさか我がレビン家はポトピ族にルーツがあったんでしょうかそんな話は聞いたことはありませんでしたが
Roots. The concept felt foreign to me as a god. I compared Merenice's heirloom to the wall painting again. They really looked identical. The item had been purchased, it would be one thing, but as a family heirloom, it seems there might be a connection.
そういえばポトピ族と精霊のおとぎ話を学校で話すと誰もそんな話は知らないと言っていました特に絵本などもありませんでしたし もしかしたら母の創作なのかもと私は思っていたのですが、もしあれがポトピ族のみに伝わるおとぎ話だとしたら、他の誰も知らなかったことにも納得できますね。
Myth only known to Palpy. That sounds romantic.
そうですか？
The tales you heard as a child were connected to your roots, and you discovered that through the wall painting. Isn't that romantic? I couldn't help but feel jealous. Being non-human, I lacked such roots. Numerous myths existed about Cupid, but they were fictional tales I never experienced. They weren't roots.
ロマンチックなのでしょうか？
Yes, I'd say it's truly destiny.
運命。そうですね。確かに運命的だ。ここへ来られてよかった。ポトピ族の洞窟に。
Randy stared at the wall painting longingly. It was as if he was gazing into another world. He kept looking at the wall painting, perhaps thinking about the individuals who created it. What in the world is this? What? It had one line. We left the cave thereafter. What was it? It sounded like a monkey. As the sun set, we made our way back to our parked van at Crunch Canyon Village's camping grounds. But these are gonna be stolen, isn't it? Randy settled onto the sofa looking drained. We showered at the campsite and dined at a local eatery. All that remained was to rest. During our journey in the camper van, I had been taking the bed while Merenice took the sofa. As usual, I settled into bed. Yawn.
疲れましたか？
Just a bit. But it was much more fun than I thought. This Crunch Canyon place is amazing.
ええ、そうですね。とても楽しかった。おかげでとても大切なことを知りましたし、一緒に来てくれてありがとうございました、リネット。いっぱい歩いて疲れたでしょう。もう寝ましょうか。
He switched off the lights, leaving only a candle burning. I noticed that Merenice remained seated on the sofa, showing no signs of going to bed. Merenice, aren't you going to sleep?
そうですね。いろいろとたくさんのことを見聞きしたせいでしょうか。あまり眠くはないんです。
Do you want to switch places, bed and sofa? Merenice always let me sleep on the bed, but I felt guilty since he did all the driving. But Merenice quickly shook his head.
大丈夫ですよ。私はどこでも眠れる体質ですから。
Despite his words, Merenice stayed awake. He looked at the souvenirs we purchased earlier, illuminating by a flickering candlelight. I noticed the carving from the Palpy tribe in his hand. It looks like the thing that disappeared. I had gotten that because Rao wanted it, but he had also gotten one for himself. At the souvenir shop, they mentioned that the carving represented the Karakachinu spirit of the Palpy tribe. There was also dang it. There was also a Karakachinu towel, so I picked up different souvenirs for Clarice and Robin. Please don't make me say that word anymore. It's so awkward to say. This carving is that a divine beast. I mean, the spirit we saw in the mural, right?
ええ、ポトピ族が祀るカラチヌ人形ですね。
Karachinu. That's easier. Thank you. Thank you, Merenice.
と言ってもこれは実際のポトピ族が作ったものではなく、あの壁画を参考に作られたもののようですが。
Ah, really?
観光地ですから。ポトピ族はもうこの辺りには暮らしていないようですね。
Didn't know that. Rao would probably be disappointed if he learned that, but then again, souvenirs from tourist spots were usually like that anyway. I remember something Gil said about the Baltimore souvenir being sold in Los York. inauthenticity was common with these things. It took me 3 times to say that word, but I think it's cute.
そうですね。
At least you guys know that I have just as much trouble with English as I do with Japanese. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I butcher Japanese names. I butcher English names too, so.
自分がもしポトピ族にルーツがあるのだとしたら、もっと懐かしく感じられると思ったのですが、特にそうした感情はないようですね。
Oh, what about the Paltby tribe myth you talked about earlier? I asked the question from my spot on the bed. He set the carving on the table, closing his eyes in reflection.
そうですね。とても短いお話でしたが、なんだか切ないお話でした。
Is this why the section is titled No Change After Kiss? Because they just go back to being like acquaintances going on a field trip together. Yeah, I hear about it.
ええ。ぜひあなたに聞いてもらいたいです。私の大好きだったおとぎ話を。
Merenice began, a smile touching his lips. It was a tale from his childhood about spirits. Are we going into story mode? Oh my gosh, we are. Dang it.
昔々あるところに心優しいポトピ族の娘がおりました。彼女は毎日夜空を見上げて祈っていました。私たちポトピ族が幸せに暮らしていけるようにと。
Hey, it's in English even. That's funny. I was wondering. Well, okay. So this is kind of cool. I don't know if these are like fortune reading cards or what, but in the theme song at the very beginning, there's like, I don't know, like an animation of him like doing some kind of fortune reading thing. I was always wondering if that was actually in the game, but yeah, I guess it's right here.
古来より流れ星は神様や精霊が地球の様子を覗くために天の扉を開いた時に漏れた光だと言い伝えられてきました。だから人々は流れ星に祈ってきたのです。願いが叶いますように、良き運命に導かれますようにと。そんなある時、娘の父親が病に伏せってしまいました。村の医者も諦めるような大病です。娘は流れ星に祈りました。どうか父の病気を治してください。代わりにどんなことでもしますと。そんな時、夜空から流れ星が娘のもとへ落ちてきました。娘のところまで来ると、流れ星は形を人の姿へと変えました。流れ星は精霊カラチヌだったのです。カラチヌは娘に言いました。お前の願いを一つ聞いてあげよう。代わりに私の妻となっておくれと。娘は父親の病気を治してもらう代わりにカラチヌの妻となりました。カラチヌに愛され、娘は幸せに暮らしました。父親の病気も治り、やがて二人の間には玉のように愛らしい子供が生まれました。しかしカラチヌには掟がありました。ずっと大地で生きてはならないのです。それは 大昔に大干ばつが起きた時、ポトピ族がカラチヌのおかげで助かったものの、その感謝を忘れ堕落してしまったからです。やがてカラチヌが空へ帰る時が来ました。これからもお前たちを見守っているよ。そう告げてカラチヌは去っていったのです。カラチヌはいつでもポトピ族を見守っています。彼らが感謝を忘れない限り、ずっと。話はこれでおしまいです。
It's a nice story, but it's a bit sad.
ええ。子供の頃はどうして愛し合っているのにカラチヌと別れないといけないのかなんて悲しくなったものです。でもこれはきっとどんな形でもポトピ族をカラチヌが見守っているというお話だったのでしょうね。
Archinu watching over them. Such celestial beings reminding me of gods. Isn't there a similar story in Greek mythology too? I heard lots of stories about Lord Jupiter descending to have a child with a mortal. Well, Greek mythologies talk about intimacy openly and don't really focus on the sad parts. But it was the same in how the gods watch over humans, even if their farewells were inevitable. Hold on. Suddenly I felt some similarity between the stories and my own situation, and my heart ached.
寝物語を話したら眠くなってしまったようです。もう寝ましょうか。
Yeah. Blew out the candle and darkness enveloped the room.
おやすみなさい、リネット。
Good night, Merenice. Once the room was dark, I drifted into my own thoughts. Would I, like the cart she knew, leave Merenice to return to the heavens? Even after our shared kiss, I was the only one whose destiny he couldn't see. Yet my identity as a god meant I could ruthlessly leave him behind. The thought of that impeding moment tugged painfully at my heart. I didn't want to leave him. Will it do something?
リネット、
Oh? We're still awake? Oh, no, she's not. She's
寝
asleep.
てしまいましたか。
It changed perspectives. Ultimately, sleep eluded me. I simply watched her peaceful slumber. She was my destined partner, the sole woman whose future I couldn't discern. Watching her sleep caused a stir in my heart.
もっと彼女と話したい。
No matter how much we talked, I felt an insatiable longing. I felt like there was something about her I still did not know, and I had no idea what that may be. She always seemed just out of reach, like a mirage dissipating upon an approach.
彼女は何を考えてここにいてくれるんでしょう。私のことをどう思っている。
Considering how she accepted the kiss, at the very least she didn't hate me. But if I asked myself if she liked me honestly, I wasn't confident in saying yes.
ロビンに相談してもよくわかりませんでしたし。
Robin too was unsure about her feelings.
ロビンの同僚となったクラリスさん曰く、本人に恋の当事者になる自覚がないという話でしたが。
That was why I kissed her, in hope of these emotions reaching her. But nothing changed. She just smiled like she always did and continued to join the trip. Felt a bit mortified as a man.
それとも私がただ分かっていないだけなのでしょうか。
You should probably stop just like being sad and just ask her. My goodness. I had lived alone all my life. Or since I gained the ability to see destinies, I couldn't interact with people normally. Maybe that was why I didn't understand her feelings.
ずっといたいと願っても叶うかどうかわからない。 それがこんなに苦しいことだなんて知りませんでした。
Until now, my life lacked direction. I mindlessly gave romantic fortunes. Only now do I grasp the gravity of my actions.
この苦しみはきっと恋の苦しみ。そうですよね。
I hesitantly reached and touched her cheek. I could feel that my temperature rose from that simple touch.
あなたの心をどうすれば手に入れられますか、リネット。
You have to talk about it. That is the only way. Instead of talking about bedtime stories, you should talk about your feelings. A nagging fear constantly looked behind me that she might someday abandon me, just like the bedtime story.
叶うことならこのままロサンヨークへ帰らずに連れ去ってしまいたい。
But such actions might make her slip through my grasp forever. Because deep down, I knew her heart remained elusive.
こうしてずっとあなたの寝顔を見られたら幸せなのに。
Whispering my newfound desire, I tenderly kissed her as she slept. Destinies were fixed. Humans could only follow them. That was why I never prayed. But at that moment, I wanted to wish upon a shooting star for us to be together. Melting like a butter. But you don't have very long to figure that out, man. We're getting down to the end. Actually, this is pretty accurate. I think most of the Cupid Parasite from the original game, like nothing happened until the end. I felt like maybe Rowell's happened quicker, only because I don't know. I think he started having romantic feelings pretty early, especially when he started getting jealous about the debates and stuff and how much attention she was getting. Other than that, I think Ryuki's was the next. Well, I don't know. Alan's was always there because Alan has always been in love with her. Jupiter, he was shot with an arrow, so I don't think that really counts. But other than that, I think Ryuki is probably the next one because once he found out he was in love with her, he like pursued her diligently. At least in my opinion, he did. Like I remember him barging into the wedding, what he thought was a wedding. It was a wedding shoot, but he thought she was getting married to object at the wedding. And he's like, "Why are you wearing that?" Actually, come to think of it, that was probably the second to last episode as well, because the one after that, he made a wedding just for her and they got married. So I could just be misremembering. Maybe they were all last minute. Anyway, that's the end of this episode. If you guys did enjoy, drop a like down below and or subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.